Hi there, Steve Kaufman here, again from my yard here in Palm Springs. Another another 10 days or so, we're back in Vancouver. But today I want to talk about something that may discourage some of you, and that is that it takes a long time to learn a language. And I say this from experience because if I look at the languages that I speak well, French, we had French at school. I never really learned it properly. But then I lived in France for 3 years, okay? And I have done a lot of reading in French. Chinese, I spent a whole year, or a little less than a year, but I was like 6-7 hours a day, and I read copiously. If I look at the languages that I've learned more recently, like Russian, I was years at Russian. And my statistics at Link tell me that I've read, 3 million words in Russian. I've listened to thousands of hours. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I have spent a lot of time. Czech was a good year, and my level in Czech is not that good. I was kind of okay when I was there, and I understand it well when I read it and I hear it, but to try and speak, it would take me a while to work it back up. Some languages, if they're related to ones that you know, go more quickly, but still, Ukrainian was a full year. And when I'm away from it, I lose it. Greek, I went at it for 6 months. I was doing fine on Crete, but now, it would take me a bit of an effort to get back to it. I've been at Arabic for, 9-10 months, and I feel as if I'm not making as much progress as I would like, except that I remember how long I spent on the other languages, and I realize that it takes a long time. Now, it depends on what your goals are. For me, my goal in a language eventually is to get what is called B2 in the Common European Framework, which is a fair degree of fluency, the ability to understand a lot of stuff, and this simply takes a lot of time. So what do we do? This is an issue in teaching languages in schools and so forth. How do you motivate people? There's no instant gratification. People have to be somehow encouraged to put in the effort to achieve a goal that's far away. Now, it depends how strongly you visualize that goal. When I started learning Russian, I was very motivated to be able to read the classics of Russian literature in the original, by the way, Master and Margarita. But not everyone is motivated that way. But I remember slogging through Tolstoy in the original, looking up every third word, but being excited at the fact that I was actually reading Tolstoy in the original. Now, that makes me perhaps an outlier. Most people would not be motivated by that. But I believe there are things we can do. First of all, I think we have to move as soon as possible into content that's interesting so that the actual learning activity becomes enjoyable or interesting in some way. I think that's absolutely fundamental. That's more important than teaching rules of grammar or anything else. Testing people, we have tests in school and nobody can speak French, at least in Canada, as a result of years and years of traditional French instruction. So we have to make it interesting in some way. And then, if it's like, if you're an athlete, if you're planning to run a marathon, that marathon might be 6 months away, but you're working out every day, and you feel good every time you work out. Even the goal of becoming more fit is not something that you measure on a day-by-day basis, but you feel good. People actually, I think, enjoy their workout, and they particularly feel good when the workout is over. So somehow that daily learning activity for language learning has to be enjoyable and has to give people a sense of satisfaction every time they do it. That way, the fact that the final goal is actually quite far away, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, if the learning activity is in some way enjoyable or satisfying, then people will continue to do it. In that regard, I think that what's happening now on the internet is very exciting. For example, YouTube has a lot of videos that have captions. If they have captions or subtitles, then that text is available. For example, at Link now, we have an extension for different browsers where you can simply click on the extension and that video, the audio, and the text are automatically imported into Link and you can study them. So you can study the words and phrases, you can listen to it, perhaps when you're not looking at it, and then you can actually look at the video and try to understand. So, and if it's on a subject that's of interest to you, how to fix your toaster, a movie, a political discussion, whatever it might be, you can then be doing that activity that's interesting while at the same time improving your language skills. So that's an example of making it enjoyable while you're doing it. So that, to me, the goal in language instruction, I mean, people always say, well, what do you do in a classroom? The kids aren't interested and stuff. Somehow you have to find a way, and the good teachers do this, find a way to make the actual learning activity interesting and enjoyable or satisfying, because actually it takes a long time to learn a language. Now, if your goal is to be able to say hello, how are you, and to order some food, maybe that can be done with, in a shorter period of time, but you really have no hold on that language, and you are quite defenseless if the person comes back to you and says, other things beyond, where the bathroom is, or whatever it is you might have asked for. So it takes a long time to learn a language, but there are things that we can do that make our language journey more enjoyable, or if you're a teacher, I guess the challenge is to make it more enjoyable for your learners. So that's what I have to say today, and I look forward to your comments.